If you're in business, you probably have a website, but can your site handle your growth? How many visitors before your site slows down or crashes? What about storage and data security? From web hosting to virtual servers, Pair Networks provides the online infrastructure you need to start, grow, and flourish. When it comes to security and updates, don't worry, we've got you covered. Our 24/7 US-based customer support is the best in the industry. No frustrating chatbots or sitting on hold for hours. Check out pair.com today to learn more. That's PAIR.com.
Hello and welcome back to Chasing Excellence, a show about chasing what truly matters. My name is Patrick Cummings. As always, I'm here with Ben Bergeron. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hello. I'm doing well, Patrick.
Good.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody out there, for joining us again. This week, we've got some listener questions. We often take questions from our listeners about the 5 factors of health, those few fundamental behaviors that most positively affect our performance, vitality, and longevity. For those folks who may be new, 1, welcome. 2, the 5 factors are how we eat, how we move, how we think, connect, and recover. We have this week 3 questions in our Connect bucket. If you out there, folks, would like to get a question into a queue, we'd love it. Head to www.chasingexcellence.email, get on our free newsletter list, and every week we'll send out a link to a form, and you can submit your questions and submit as many as you'd like, and we will do our best to get them into a future episode, and we thank you in advance for them. All right. First question is from Juliana. She says, I'm married, have 2 kids, 3 and 3 months old. We've lived in the U.S. for almost 10 years, and since the birth of my second child, we've been considering moving back to our hometown in Brazil, mostly because we want to be close to family. After living in the U.S. for so long, it's hard not to think about how this move could impact our kids, their future, and the general opportunities they'd have in life if they stayed in America. On the other hand, we know that the world right now is so globalized that no matter where you are, you can have access to information from all around the world. The reason why I selected Connect is that the main reason for this move is connection. The quality of connection we have back home is so much superior to that in the U.S. And for some reason, that seems to be weighing heavy for us right now. We'd love to know your thoughts on how to approach this life decision and how to know what's best for our kids after all.
Cool question.
Yeah.
I just love the fact that it's not like the default. We are where we are. Your kids have great opportunities with education, so we're going to do this thing because they can get better jobs. The fact that they're weighing and measuring against, what would be so great if we could have these really meaningful relationships with our family. So Heather's ex-husband, we're still really, really close with.
Yep.
He's a athletic director at a incredible private school in the Boston area, and he does these service trips. I think this is like probably his 4th or 5th one to Rwanda in Africa, and we were hanging out for a little bit at their house last week, and I was asking, what are you going to do like when you retire and stuff like that? Not that he's that close to it, but he's like, I'm thinking about moving and spending the majority of my time in Rwanda. I was like, whoa, crazy. Like, what's up with that? Why? And he's like, the people are so much, I don't say that they're so happy. They're so grateful. They have such incredible relationships with each other. They're the better expression of what humanity is supposed to be. And when I come back here, I don't feel that. And yes, there's so much more opportunity here, and we go there to help give them more opportunity, but I can't help but think that maybe this whole thing is backwards. So I resonate with this question in a big way based off that conversation that I just had with Alex, because I don't know how much it is about opportunity and economic prosperity, particularly, as she mentioned, in today's globalized world where information is at all of our disposals at essentially all times. So the way I conceptualize conundrums such as this, right, is I think about it in terms of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Mm-hmm. And if we think of it in terms of that framework, it can maybe shed some light on what is the thing that we should be leaning towards or indexing towards. So this idea is that until you have these first needs met, there's no sense in chasing anything above it. because you need to, it's basically like a stair-stepping type of thing. There's a foundation and you build off of the foundation. And that first need, I'll just say what they are. There's 5 of them. They're physical needs, needs for safety, needs for love and belonging, needs for esteem, and the last one is self-actualization. So breaking those things down a little bit, physiological needs are things like air, shelter, water, sleep, clothing, and, strangely enough, reproduction, sex.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea behind this is if your head was being held underwater, after about 30 seconds, you're not thinking about buying the new white BMW.
Right.
You're not thinking about the 2-car garage. You're not thinking about your job. Like, you have one need, one real need, and that is air. It's the same thing that goes with the other ones, right? You can take any of those examples and go, okay, if you haven't eaten in 10 days, it's food, water, shelter. You get these things. Okay. Same thing with sleep. The next one is safety, which is personal security, employment, property, and health. If you have health, if you don't have health, this is where this comes in. First, we need air, food, and water. Then we need health, and we need to be able to have some sort of economic earning potential. And we need safety. We don't, if someone's pointing a gun at us or mugging us, this is where our mind is going to be consumed with. Which kind of points to the thing of like chase what truly matters. Mm-hmm. It's one of the big reasons that we lean into health as much as we do. Okay, if you have those 2 things, the next thing is love and belonging, meaning family, friendships, intimacy, and sense of connection. And wow, do I think that a lot of us skip over that one for the next one, which is esteem, mm-hmm. which is status, recognition, and respect. And I think this is where it's flipped in a lot of modern day societies. And this is why we never get to our self-actualization, which is the ability to become the best version of yourself. That's mm-hmm. what that is now I'm going to do all the introspective work to do all this stuff. This is not to say status, respect, and recognition are bad at all. They're to say that they are part of this thing, but they don't come before love and belonging, and they're not the top.
Yep.
So when someone like this asks that question, should I move back to Brazil where we have more love and belonging, although I have more opportunity for esteem, status, and recognition here, what should I do? I think it kind of like goes 2 different directions. One is, can you have the opportunity for that status, recognition, and achievement, respect there? If you can, see ya, solve. Pack your bags, solve. Yeah. The other one is, can you create those relationships here where you have that level of friendship and family and sense of community and connection and intimacy? Maybe it's just with your tight little family. Maybe it's, in the town over from us is Framingham, which is Brazilian. And, if you were there, I think you'd feel probably a big sense of connection. So I don't have the answer of whether you should move to Brazil or not. But I think that going through this framework might help steer that direction, because you go, okay, what is available to me in each of these different places?
I think the interesting thing that you said is, and you went by it quick, is the idea that this is like it's steps. You don't get to go to the second one, to your point. If your head's underwater, right, nobody's skipping to the second and third and fifth. And I think one of the things that happens is we want to skip that third one so bad so that we can get to the fourth one. And then we get stuck in an endless loop waiting for that fourth thing to solve the problem or to usher us into the fifth one of that self-actualization. And it doesn't, because we skipped over the third step. I think it's really interesting. I've never really thought about it like that, in that if you skip it, you don't get to skip it and leave it behind you and solve it in some other way. You just continue to hit the ceiling of satisfaction, of fulfillment, of happiness, of all of these other things that we talk about all the time. And it's only until you recognize, the proverbial, I've got to take the 3 steps back so that I can take a step forward again. And it's this one that we want so quickly to skip over, this connection, this love, this relationship, this family. And to your point, what you're saying was like, that's the game society wants us to believe, is that it's the status, it's the things, it's the job, it's the money. That's what culture wants us to do because culture is rewarded by that. But it's not what we want at our heart. It's not what we are ultimately rewarded by.
Yeah. I would also just maybe call out the words you use there is want. And this is not the Maslow's hierarchy of wants. This is what you need. If you like your point. And here's the kind of the cool thing is in today's society, we can actually get to that fifth one. We can actually have the level of freedom, of time, and safety, and food, shelter, and water to actually be like, contemplate life.
Yeah.
For most of humanity, that was not even an option except for the crazy rich and opulent. Besides that, it was like everyone was like, got to make sure my hut can withstand the winter. Got to raise the crops so I don't have a famine and my whole family dies. It's just like everything was just pushed to there. If someone went, so tell me about what ultimately fulfills you, they'd be like, what the fuck? Like,
get off the farm.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about the real basic. It was those first two.
Yep.
Maybe a little bit. This is interesting. Just in real time, maybe think about this. They might have had more of 3 because they put so much into 1 and 2, right? And they put so much into making sure that their love and the belonging, they lived truly in tribes, that there was so much sense of connection. So, and I know now that I take that back, I bet that there was probably more self-actualization then than there probably is now because we're skipping a lot of this stuff. But we have more opportunity for it now, and that's the difference.
Yep, agreed. All right, Juliana, let us know what you end up doing because we're curious now. Next question is from Nikki. I've been divorced for over 10 years. She's 52 years old. She's got kids age 18 and 15, a stable life, and she's happy, healthy, and a normal-looking person. Despite this, I haven't had any luck in dating and finding a partner. Although I enjoy some alone time, I don't like or want to be alone. The dating world has changed so much that I am lost in it. I'm getting to the point of thinking either something is wrong with me or I need to change or let go of my boundaries and what I'm looking for and go with whatever the majority do, which is lots of polyamorous open relationships and very casual. As a monogamous person, it's not something I can or like to do, but I'm thinking maybe I should just let go of my beliefs and values. Should I let them go? Is commitment in a relationship something that doesn't have meaning anymore? Should I just forget about it, stay single, and get the idea of having a partner off my mind for good? I'm tired of friends and coworkers telling me they can't believe you are still single, yet I'm so lost.
All right, I didn't know what that first word meant. It said monogamous, so it's the opposite of monogamous. So it means like multiple partners?
Yes, polyamorous, yes, multiple partners.
Yeah, that's a lot of syllables.
It's a lot of people.
Okay, so the question I would have to ask there is like, how hard are you working at this? That's the first thing that to me pops up. If you don't want it, she says, I don't mind being single. It sounds like I don't want to be single.
She doesn't mind being alone, but she doesn't want to be alone.
Yeah. Okay. So if you don't want to be alone, then you're going to have to, it's work. And if Nikki had said, I've been on 48 dates in the last 60 days. Before that, I was going on 1 date a week for 3 years. I'd be like, okay, then something's off. Yes, I would just start telling your coworkers you're going to stay single. But if you're telling me that you've gotten back into the dating world and you're trying this and you've been on 7 dates and this is what you're finding, that's not the work. It's the same thing of people that are trying to go for a new job. They do 7 job interviews and nothing lines up with what they want. And they essentially go, there's nothing out there for me. The workforce has changed. Like, I want this and this isn't what the world is anymore and it's not going to be there. If you want something, we gotta really put in the work. Now, let's assume that Nikki has put in the work. She's one of us, so we're not going to shy away from the hard work. But to me, the hard work is, have you been on 50 dates? And 50 dates where you are like working hard at it, like you're trying hard. Not 50 dates where you're like going in like this isn't going to work, but 50 dates where you're trying to make this happen. The other part is I would not go on 50 dates through Tinder. If you want to talk about the dating world has changed, yes, it's much, much easier to find someone, but it's much, much easier to be misaligned when you find that someone. Because what used to happen was your best friend, Nikki, knows you, and your best friend, cousin, has a best friend who they know as well. And they go, ooh, you guys would be a great mix. You guys mix? Partner, pair, couple?
Be a good mix.
Mix? What is that? Like we're breeding dogs. Ooh, that'd be a great mix. Yeah, Nikki and cousin Jared's friend. Yeah, so that's the way it used to, or you would meet someone out and something in them would spark. Now it's like profile. Are they hot enough, attractive? Do they not smoke? And do they have a job? Cool, let's try it. Well, as much as these apps want to get you to line up, like there's just the pool is so much bigger that you missing on a dozen or 2 dozen in a row is probably likely. But until we've had, this used to be a saying a lot. Like if people would be like, I'm just not good at muscle ups. They'd be like, I'm just not good at muscle ups. When I'd be training them. Be like, okay, show me your training log from last year. How many times you tried? Let me show you your training log. And what you'll see is that they didn't do muscle ups.
Yeah.
Well, of course, we're not going to get what we want if we're not doing the thing. So this isn't anything other than like tough love for Nikki. Is make sure you're getting out there and actually doing the thing before you're throwing your hands up in the air and saying, the world has changed and should I change my values? Because that's the thing I'm not going to ever ask anyone to change is to change their values. Your values are what you believe are important. So it's not going to work if you change that. Stay true to who you are. Make sure you do the work. And if after 50 dates over the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months, you want to go, the world has changed, cool. Then be single, and maybe when you let go of this, something does appear, because it's funny how the world works that way as well.
It's interesting, a little throwback to the first question, which I thought about as you were talking about Tinder and the way kind of things used to be, which is like friend of friend, cousin of friend. I met somebody at a place. It's the relationships. That's how it used to happen. It used to happen through relationships. If I have a relationship with you, you have a relationship with her, and all of a sudden there's an opportunity here. But when we lose those connections, when we lose those relationships, we look around for replacements, and the only replacements are the next ladder up the Maslow's hierarchy, which is the status and the symbols and the things. And that's what we try to latch onto in absence of the connections and the relationships and whatnot.
As you're talking about the relationships, and I used to have a relationship, and now it's changed. I don't know, Nikki, but join a CrossFit gym.
Yeah, I had the same thought.
And go there not looking for somebody. Because what's going to end up happening is you're not going to start dating the guy that you partner up with the rowing workout, but you're going to make some really good friends, and they're going to know somebody.
Yeah.
It's not that you're not going in there for the dating pool of the 150 members there, of which 7 of them are in your 10-year age span and are of the sex that you're interested in, and 3 of them are attractive enough, and all 3 of them are married, so there's no pool. It's not that.
Right.
You're going to the 150, and the 150 have 30 friends outside of the gym. Whether it's the kid that works there whose uncle just got separated or whatever it might be. But the CrossFit gyms are such cool communities.
Agreed.
That, even if you don't find somebody, I think it's always a worthwhile thing.
It's a win no matter what.
That's right.
All right, cool. Thank you, Nikki. I hope that is helpful. We wish you nothing but the best. We've got one more question coming up. We're going to take a quick break to thank a few sponsors. First, we're brought to you this week by the Defender family of vehicles. The Defender, this is a vehicle with a rich history that goes way back all the way to 1947 when Maurice Wilkes first sketched out the design for what would become a game changer in the automotive world. Today's Defender is a reimagined icon, combining its legendary capability with thoroughly modern design. Head to LandRoverUSA.com/Defender to learn more about the entire series, from the 6-seat Defender 90 to adventure-loving 110 to the Defender 130, which can fit up to 8 human beings. The Defender 110 is ready to take on any adventure you throw at it, whether you're facing off-road challenges or simply packing up for a camping trip. It's built for the modern explorer with robust materials, an intuitive driver display, and an award-winning infotainment system to keep you connected. And if you're passionate about sustainability like we are, you'll love the Defender 110 is also available as an electric hybrid. That's cool. If you're ready to explore with greater confidence, visit LandRoverUSA.com/Defender today. Adventure awaits. We're also brought to you this week by OneSkin. OneSkin is a brand I've been using for a while now, and they've made a real difference to my skincare routine. Head to oneskin.co, use the code EXCELLENCE to save yourself 15% off your purchase. OneSkin's products are simple, scientifically validated solutions that help you keep your skin healthy while looking and feeling your best. No complicated routines or multiple step protocols. The secret behind this is their proprietary OS01 peptide. This stuff is the first ingredient proven to switch off the aging cells that cause lines, wrinkles, and thinning skin. But don't just take my word for it. OneSkin has over 4,000 5-star reviews, and they are recognized by Fast Company as one of the most innovative brands in 2024. You and your face can get an exclusive 15% off your first OneSkin purchase using the code EXCELLENCE when you check out at oneskin.co. Try OneSkin and enjoy younger, healthier looking skin without all the extra steps. That's oneskin.co, and don't forget to use the code EXCELLENCE for 15% off.
It's been a game changer for your skincare routine. That implies that you had a skincare routine before.
That is an assumption that we cannot make. But we're going with it. I used soap before sometimes. Come on.
Because this started me as well. Like I didn't do anything before OneSkin.
Shout out to OneSkin for making us grown-ups and cleaning our faces. All right, our last question this time around is from Kara. This is what she's got. I own an affiliate with my husband. They just hit 10 years. Congrats on that. And I also work part-time as a licensed professional counselor in the mental health field. I have a dream of combining my two work passions to offer sessions where you can work out while we do therapy. I'm wondering if you've seen anyone out there doing something like that and your thoughts on how to get started. I have clients already that I know would be interested as I work from a holistic perspective and we incorporate fitness and nutrition into our conversations, but I'm just not sure how to make the jump. Any thoughts or advice would be wildly appreciated.
Yes, absolutely. Do it. The research is so strong in terms of the benefits of exercise on mental health. I have a study pulled up right now, effects of exercise on anxiety, depression, and mood. This was in PubMed. It's a meta-analysis, meaning it's a study of studies. I'll read a little abstract really quickly. The meta-analysis of correlational and experimental studies reveal positive effects of exercise in healthy people and in clinical populations, parentheses, also in patients with emotional disorders, close parentheses, regardless of gender and age. The benefits are significant, especially in subjects with an elevated level of anxiety and depression because of more room for positive change. And it goes on and on and on. So this is, we all have known this for a very, very long time, that the greatest adaptation to training happens between the ears, particularly through hard training. But what the research is now showing is that like any movements at all, like walking, the worst thing that a depressed and anxious person can do is sit and ruminate in their own misery. The best thing that they can do, get out and, even if it's like to buy a pack of cigarettes, get out and walk to the convenience store. The walking by itself is so beneficial. And then there is a upscale as you upscale the intensity. So should you do this? Absolutely. I think that you should document it along the way. It's funny, when we first started doing this training, Greg Glassman has said that the greatest adaptation is going to be between the ears, but he never used it as a proponent of the training methodology because he said it couldn't be proven. And it wasn't being, well, now it is. It's being proven, both through clinical and epidemiological and all these other ways that people are studying this, through controlled trials and so on. In terms of the effects of exercise versus the effects of medication, the upside is as strong for the exercise group, if not stronger, with obviously none of the downside effects and a ton of other positive effects. So exercise absolutely for therapy. In terms of the suggestions on how to do it, I would start them with the exercise and then talk to them. That's whenever I talk to my athletes, I always do it afterwards. It's the same thing. I think it's Reedy, and I want to say it's Steve Reedy, but I might be getting the first name wrong. He wrote the book Spark, which sparked the fitness in the classroom revolution. And the whole box program came about from that. Reebok was a big, huge part of it. Actually, one of our members from our gym was a person, Michelle Obama, got behind it. It was this whole MOVE initiative to get kids moving before school because of all the neuroplasticity and the more openness to learning and the more openness they were to ideas and the more focused they could be. So this is when you talk to people after they train, man, like it just quiets the mind. And it's like they become more of a sponge. Think of it like they work out. Before they work out, when they come in, they're a sponge that hasn't been underneath any water. It's like hard, crusty. You can almost like crack it like a deck of cards on the cardboard. When they work out, you're essentially like moistening it. It's getting softer, and it will like start to absorb more. So the messages that you are bringing to them, they'll also be more vulnerable and more willingness, and the trust goes up because they've seen themselves in those more shared human experiences of training. I obviously get jazzed up and very excited about this and where this can go in the future because I think it's one of the most untapped tools. And the reason we don't go to it is because it's hard. It's much easier to give somebody a pill and say, come back and talk to me in 10 days and let me know if you feel better, than it is to walk someone into a gym, teach them how to squat and run 400 meters hard. That's a lot harder. But man, think of like the transactional versus transformational experience that they'll have with those. One is, yeah, felt a little bit better, doc, but now I also have this rash on my elbow. And the other one is, wow, that was hard. I do feel a little bit better. And wow, now, like I feel like I could do some other hard things. Like that, man, that's everybody we've mismanaged. I think it starts with the school system. I think we've totally mismanaged the expectation for physical activity, in modern society. A gym should be a requirement. It should be an hour every single day, and it should not be, let's bring out a big parachute, put a bunch of dodgeballs on it, and watch the dodgeballs look like popcorn. That's not what gym class should be, which is, it should be essentially a CrossFit class, teaching people about nutrition and movement and exercise and strength and vitality and getting people to be more formidable human beings.
Thinking about Kara's question a little bit more practically, do you think it would be easier for her to get people into therapy? And then I know you said you would start people with fitness, but I'm zooming out a little bit. Do you think the layperson out there who she could help down the road, easier to get them into therapy and then into the gym, or easier to get them into the gym and then into therapy?
So I think it depends on the population you're trying to help. If you're trying to go to your gym, if you're going to your gym and being like, does anybody else want to talk through any stuff? Obviously, it's easier to start that way. They're already doing the thing. If you have a therapy practice and people are coming to talk through stuff, and then you're going to try to get them to move, that's a better place to start. And I think that one's going to be more impactful, frankly. It's the population that needs it more. The people that aren't feeling good about themselves, that haven't really done anything hard in a while, that get caught up in their own thought web, that are anxious or depressed. Getting that population talking to you is probably going to be easier. And then going, hey, next session, bring in sneakers and a pair of sweatpants. And we're just going to sit on a bike for a little bit before we talk. And you sit on the bike. You're like, cool. See how you're, if they're on a C2 bike, see how you're biking at 600 calories an hour? Let's just see if we can do a little burst where we get that up to 800. And they go there and you're like, oh, wow, awesome, cool, relax, go back down. Amazing. Do you think you get to 850? They're like, I don't know. Let's try it. And whoa, they get to 8. And like, all of a sudden you give them like little targets and they're hitting it. Wow, do you think you get to 1,000? Like, I don't know. That sounds really hard. I was breathing heavy at night. And oh my God, I can't believe that was crazy. I did that. That's, whoa. And like, you snowball off of that. But you make, I'm a big fan of this. I go back to the conversation we had a while ago of, my son, bringing him to the field and he was trying to kick a soccer ball. And you give him like really short, quick wins. I was talking to another dad recently and he was trying to get his daughter better at playing goalie in lacrosse. And so I started with some really hard shots. So I would just like whip it and crank it past her, thinking that, and I told her, I was like, if you can stop these, or even if you don't, everything after this can be easy. Well, one hit her off the shin and she was done. Like, you wouldn't even get to the next one. So we got to work with like human psychology, which is you create momentum with quick wins. Like, people want to feel like they can be successful at something. Now, there are the rare people that like, you bring them into a CrossFit class and they fail horrifically and they're like, what the fuck was that? Like, I need to do that. But that's the rare person.
Yes.
Most people, if they fail horrifically, are like, screw that. I'm out. That's not me. I'm not one of them. That's not. So what we need to do is go, no, you could see this little taste, this little nibble of this thing, see how that feels good. And then you reward them, not with fixed traits, not with, oh, you're so fit. Oh, you're so strong. Fixed mindset. You reward them with the growth mindset stuff. Wow, you're really coachable. Wow, you can really work hard. Wow, you leaned into that challenge. And all of a sudden, that becomes their identity. And then, as you said before, is let's not underestimate our ability to play that role as a game changer in someone's life.
Yep.
Like the power of what we could do for that person.
Last thing is, I think it's so powerful to remember that how powerful it is to remember that we can do hard things. And I'm just thinking about this scenario where like, hey, Sally, we've been working together for 6 months. Remember at the start where you really couldn't answer a lot of the questions I asked. You weren't ready for it. You weren't ready to be open. And now look at you now. Or flip that. Hey, Sally, remember when you came into the gym, you couldn't do a single pull-up. You couldn't do a single push-up. You couldn't run the 400-meter mark. And now look at you. Are you ready for the next hard thing? Right? Remind them that they are capable of that hard thing. And these two worlds that are so often separated, this world of the mind and this world of the body, they're so alike in so many ways. And one of the biggest ways is that they teach us that we are capable of slightly more than we thought we could. And if you've got this area where you've proven this to yourself, you can have that conversation in a way that's really honest and authentic, and they're open to it because they recognize it, because they know it. And you can say, hey, that scary thing, this here, what we're doing here, whether it's fitness or whether it's therapy, this was scary the first time you walked in here too, but we got through that and we're so much further along. Now here's the next step. It's the next slightly hard thing. And I just think that the person who recognizes that in one domain is so much closer to being open to it in the other domain than if they were always forever separate.
Yeah. We've had these people walk into our gym, the people that are anxious, that are depressed, that need work with mental health. Even if they've seen a little bit of success with one, see how you've answered those questions, you opened up and where we were and where you are. Are you ready for the next hard thing? They're not. They're scared of a hard thing is a hard thing. So I really like the words that you use, though, of like slightly more. And just give them 1 foot hurdles. Don't ask them to do the next hard thing. It's your job as a coach. It's your job as a coach, as a therapist, or whatever. Get the person to be better. How you do that is your expertise. And you saying, I'm going to give you something easy is awesome. Give them that. This is what I do with my son. If I was like, all right, you learn to ski. Remember when you first started, you couldn't ski at all. Now you can ski. Well, now we're going to do this next hard thing. Like he's gone. Like he's not in. But I was like, hey, we're just going to do some real easy stuff. I'm going to put this ball on the goal line. It's in the net. You can't miss. It's impossible to miss. You feel success. Okay, now we put it on the 1 foot line. Cool. Now, and this is the idea behind like for this population, you got to give them the wins. The big steps can come after they've tasted some of these quick wins. Just get on the bike. We're just going to get on a bike. Your job is to get them better. It's not to clearly explain the totality of the path at the beginning. Their job is to make them better. So how do you get them better? You got to get them on a bike. I'm using a bike, right? Maybe it's underneath the bar. It's go for a jog or a walk or whatever it is. But if you don't get them on the bike, if you don't get them come in with running shoes on, they are not going to be able to take the next step.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, everybody there, for sending us your questions. Again, www.chasingexcellence.email. We'll send out an email every weekend with a link to a form. You can submit as many questions as you've got. We'll do our best to get to them in a future episode. Thanks so much for listening. Thank you for your ratings and your reviews. Ben and I will be back soon for a new episode of Chasing Excellence.
At Grand Canyon University, we believe in equal opportunity, and the American dream starts with purpose. Whether your pursuit involves a bachelor's, master's, or doctoral degree, GCU's learning environments are designed for supportive networking and collaboration. With over 330 academic programs, GCU provides a path to help you fulfill your dreams. The pursuit to serve others is yours. Find your purpose at GCU. Private, Christian, affordable. Visit gcu.edu.